Hi, this is Eric from longboxreview.com. Welcome to the show. I recently got an interesting piece of feedback on the blog, and if you noticed at the top of the show, I said longboxreview.com, and as any longtime listener may have noticed, I didn't say .wordpress.com, and that's because I recently took the plunge and became, quote-unquote, a more professional podcaster by having my own domain name. Now, I don't know if that is particularly true, the professional podcaster bit, but I decided to do that anyway to make it easier for people to find the Longbox Review podcast and just my overall presence on the web. And there's another reason for that. I noticed not too long ago that there is another podcast out there calling themselves Longbox Reviews, with an S. I suppose you could go check them out if you'd like. I don't know why they would choose a name that is so very close to mine, one letter difference. You know, a Google search would help identify anybody that has a similar name, which is what I did when I decided to name my blog, my show, Longbox Review. But anyway, I digress. So I got this bit of feedback on a post I did featuring covers for Superman for All Seasons. And it just occurred to me that I haven't talked in a while about the feedback that I've received, either for the podcast or the blog or on Twitter or Tumblr or YouTube, any of those things. So I thought I would go ahead and do that. But first, before I get to that, I want to talk about my recent trip that I took with my daughter to Six Flags Magic Mountain. And there is a comic book connection here, for those that don't know. So let me back up though. Like I said, this was a trip I took with my daughter. She recently graduated college from the University of Idaho, and this is a trip that she and I have long wanted to take. And we decided that it would be kind of a sort of a graduation present from me to her. So we went to Six Flags Magic Mountain, which is in, I believe, technically Valencia, California, down near LA. So we flew down there at the time of this recording just a few days ago. And we went and we were there for 3 days and rode a bunch of roller coasters, which is the whole reason to go to Six Flags, as far as I'm concerned, and as far as I could ascertain, because that's pretty much all that's there. There are some kid stuff, if you wanted to take younger kids to the park, but mostly you're there to ride roller coasters, which is what we did for essentially 2.5 days. We were there for 3 days, but that third day we were so tired from the previous 2 days, and the heat from the second day that we were there, it was in the 90s, and it was just a little too hot, and just walking around everywhere just got to us a little bit. Plus, riding roller coasters. Let's see. So that's why we went, and it was pretty cool. Like I said, if you like roller coasters, this is a place to go. But there is a comic connection because the Six Flags theme parks have some sort of licensing deal with Warner Brothers and DC Comics. So there are Warner Brothers Looney Tunes characters and rides and whatnot named after those characters. So that was really cool, and I'll talk about that, why I thought that was cool in a second. But back to the rides. So we rode, let's see here, about 16, I think, rides, roller coasters altogether. I'm just going to list them real quick for those that are familiar with it. Apocalypse, which was a fun, really fast roller coaster. The theme was it was a post-apocalyptic world, and I guess we were riding the ride to get away from the menace in that world. I don't know. Every time I would go through or get in line, and they have stuff playing on TVs and on speakers to kind of get you in the mood for the theme of the ride, but I was never able to really catch the whole story because we just quickly went through the line, which was really nice. For the most part, we spent maybe 20 minutes half an hour tops in any line at the park. So that was really cool. We did not need the Flash Pass at all for our visit to Six Flags Magic Mountain. We rode Batman, which they were running backwards. We rode that twice. Oh, we rode Apocalypse twice. We rode Colossus, which is that the? I think that is the wooden roller coaster that they are going to be tearing down at the end of the season this year. So we got to ride that. That was kind of cool. It was also kind of scary because as you're going on the ride, you see how kind of dilapidated the structure is, which heightens the tension you may feel about riding roller coasters. But it was a lot of fun. Full Throttle, rode that twice. That was really fun. It's really fast. There's some loops there. The Green Lantern ride, First Flight, we did not ride that one. I really wanted to the last day, but my daughter was not feeling all that great. And by the time we got to the point where we could ride that ride on that third day, I wasn't feeling all that great either. So we skipped it, which is kind of too bad. Maybe I'll go back one of these years and ride it. Gold Rusher, we rode that once. Gold Rusher is just one of those, what would they call it at the park? I don't remember now, but it's kind of a beginner roller coaster, I guess. We just rode it because we were there, and what the heck. Goliath. Now that was an interesting one. That was a really fast one and went around in a bunch of turns. But it was really interesting. We only rode this once because as I'm riding it, we're coming into this curve really, really fast. And I'm squinting my eyes because the wind is rushing on my face so fast. I'm just kind of, just to protect my eyes, I guess. But we're coming around this turn, and my vision starts to get a little dark. And I'm thinking, wow, I'm really squinting my eyes tight. And I realize, wait, I'm not squinting my eyes really tight. My vision is getting dark. And we come out of that really fast curve, and my vision returns, but it freaked me out. And so I'm talking to my daughter about it, and she said the same thing. So I think it was going so fast that we were, I want to say the G-force was causing us to basically almost pass out. So we did not ride that one again, but that was an experience. The Lex Luthor plunge ride where they take you up and then they drop you really fast. We didn't ride that one because my daughter didn't want to do that one. And it was up really, 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 really high in the sky. So, and I have a thing about heights. I don't like heights, which you may be thinking to yourself, why would you go ride roller coasters then? Well, that's a very good question. Mostly because I like to challenge myself, and they're just a lot of fun. Ninja is one of those floating roller coasters where the track is above you and you're in a car. That was really fun. It was not like a real high intensity ride, but it was a lot of fun. Revolution we rode once. I don't remember much about that one except it was fast. Okay, so Superman the ride. So this one is it is basically you're in a car and they shoot you out backwards on this track that basically curves upward into I want to say a 90-degree angle, but I doubt it's 90 degrees. Could be though. And then you just come back down, but it's really fast. And we rode that one 3 times. We liked it so much. Plus, it was really cool because the entire time that you're in the structure, in the line, it's built to look like, well, sort of like Superman's Arctic Fortress of Solitude. And the whole time you're there, they're playing the theme song from Superman the movie and various tracks from that album. And that was really cool. I remarked to my daughter that if I worked at Six Flags, I'd want to work in that ride so that I can listen to that soundtrack all day. We rode Scream a couple times, Riddler's Revenge a couple times. Now that's an interesting one if you're not familiar with that. So it's a roller coaster where you basically stand. You're strapped in and you're standing for the most part. The first time I rode it, they didn't put my seat, if you will, down far enough because your feet are supposed to be flat on the bottom of the ride. Only the person who put me in wasn't paying attention, or I don't know what. But basically, I was on my tiptoes the entire ride, which kind of spooked me, and it was very uncomfortable in a certain area of my anatomy. So the second time we rode it, I made sure that I got down far enough. And that was a much more comfortable ride, so it made it more enjoyable. Tatsu was another one, and I'm going to come back to that. We rode that one a couple times. Viper we rode once. That's a really fast many loops in that ride. And I only rode that once because it really hurt my shoulders. The harness that they had, they pull over your shoulders. When going around those loops, my shoulders kept ramming into that shoulder contraption, and I came away from it just hurting. It was painful. So I didn't want to ride that one again. And then finally we rode X2 once. And if you're not familiar with X2, let's see, there are 4 riders and they're all in a straight line, and basically you are away from the track. So the track is not under you. It is in line with you. So the track is in the middle, and then the car, well, the harness thing, it's not really a car. So you're kind of harnessed into the ride. And so 2 on each side of the track. So you're just there. And as you're going through, you're kind of flipping over, and there's a fiery explosion at one point. Anyway, a lot of fun. That was the one ride that really kind of spooked me, but it was a lot of fun. Okay, finally back to Tatsu. This is the ride you need if you go to Six Flags Magic Mountain. I think that's the only place it is that you need to go on, because this is a ride that you actually get the feeling of a flight, that you are flying through the air, because what they do is they put you in and then they tilt you up about 90 degrees. Basically, if you're sitting down looking ahead, and then you imagine yourself being tilted so that your face is pointing to the floor, that's what they do. And then you just go out on this track and they flip you over and you go through some loops. It's like you're flying. It's crazy, crazy fun. So we only got to do that twice. I wish we would have been able to do that another time before we left, but we didn't. So obviously, as I said, there are some rides there named after DC characters, but there's also what they call the DC Universe area of the park, and that's where they have all of these rides, these DC rides. They also had Wonder Woman, The Lasso of Truth. There's the Flash ride. I think that's about it as far as DC-themed ones. But those aren't roller coasters, so we didn't go on those. And basically anything that spins, which is kind of why we avoided the Green Lantern ride, anything that spins around, we try to avoid those. I'm not very good with the spinny rides. But the DC area, the park was really cool. They had these building facades, 344 Clinton Street, which is where Superman lives in the comics, and there is Star Labs sign and some other things too. On my Tumblr, on longboxreview.tumblr.com, I believe that's what the address is, I posted a bunch of pictures that I took there, including the building facades that I'm talking about. They were just really cool. So if you go there, and I will include links to a bunch of things that I'm going to talk about on this episode, so you can check those out. But and zoom in, if you can, zoom in on those particular photos, because you'll see a lot of what I refer to in the post as Easter eggy type stuff. Plus, I got to get my picture taken with Robin, the Tim Drake version, in that all red and black costume, and Jon Stewart was there as well in his Green Lantern outfit. So that was really cool. The only other DC character that I saw the entire time that I was there was the Flash. I didn't get my picture taken with him, unfortunately, but I did get my picture taken with my favorite Looney Tunes character, which is Daffy Duck. And I tell you what, the day that I got I think it was the same day that I got those pictures taken with both those characters, I was just giddy as a schoolboy. It was just a lot of fun. And I wanted to, since this is about feedback. Oh wait, let me back up. So one more thing before I move on to feedback, or a couple more things. So not only were the people in costume there, and you get the DC themed rides and all that stuff. One thing I really, really thought was cool about the Six Flags park was the people that were there, just like me, who were there to enjoy the park, who were wearing the merchandise that Six Flags sold. And namely, they have these capes. So all these superhero capes, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. I saw a Robin cape that I really wanted to get, but I couldn't find it again. I ended up getting a Batman cape and a it's Supergirl because I guess it's pink, for my granddaughters. But I saw people wearing these capes and the superhero T-shirts and other merchandise, and it was just really cool to see people of all ages and either gender walking around wearing the superhero stuff. It was like being at a con, only I don't know, I want to say more inclusive. Maybe that's not the right term, but it was just really cool to see all these people celebrating or at least participating in the idea of superheroes and DC Comics, which I just thought that was incredibly neat. And finally, while at the hotel that we were staying at, I happened to be coming back from dinner after we were done at the park, and I was wearing one of my University of Idaho T-shirts that I took with me. And one of the staff members at the hotel, as I passed by him, saw me and pointed and said, "Go Vandals!" And I thought that was really cool. All right, so feedback. So I got some feedback on my Six Flags trip. So on Twitter, I was saying things about being at Six Flags, and if you follow me at Longbox Review on Twitter, then you might have seen that. But I also got some feedback about what rides to ride, and I got some feedback from Adam Stabelli and MJ and Chris Callahan. So I thought that was really cool that they put in their suggestions for rides to ride, especially when I said something about not liking the spinny rides. Chris mentioned that I probably shouldn't ride the Green Lantern ride. All right, so that was our little trip, our little fun summer thing that I did with my daughter before she goes off into the big bad world of adulthood and doesn't need her daddy anymore. It was great. I really enjoyed our trip together. We had a great time. But let's move on to feedback. So whenever I get feedback, especially about the podcast, I try to include that feedback here on some episode. And I realized that, I'm not just getting feedback directly about the podcast episodes, but I get feedback on the website, the blog, and I get feedback on Twitter, email, voicemail. I actually have a voicemail to play you here in a little bit. So I thought I would just kind of collect these things and then I'd talk about it a little bit. First up this is from Twitter. Chris Snell said about episode 45, which was a previous episode. This was a while ago, and I don't think I'd mentioned it, but in case I had, oh well, I'm doing it again. Let's see, he said, "I really enjoyed the previous episode from that week. Made me second guess some things I overlooked. Can't wait for the next episode." He also added, after I responded back to him, "I was bummed when it was over because it meant I had to wait for the next one," which is really cool. Thank you very much, Chris. That's lovely to hear. Let's see, for episode 60, which is the conversation that I had with Travis about Forever Evil, Jupiter's Legacy and Revival, two people on Twitter said, so this is Junior on Twitter, "Best comic book podcast in my opinion." Thank you, Junior. And Sleepy Reader also said, "Great podcast from us, especially like the discussion of Jupiter's Legacy." And you're going to hear probably me say a lot of these same names over and over. It's like I do have a few people that respond somewhat regularly on things. Let's see, on episode 61, this is a Breaking Late news episode from a while ago. And these are all from YouTube because Travis and I did that episode, Breaking Late News, as a YouTube video that I then repackaged into the podcast episode. From Sherpanaut, "The two of you have a very natural rapport for one another. I like this combo. Keep it going." And then Thomas Williams, Stacey Gallagher, Will Sullivan, and I think it's pronounced Kostin Bromstar, basically all said, "Great show," or "Cool show," or "Keep it up," something along those lines. So thanks, guys. Episode 62, this was my discussion with Peter Rios about Lazarus. Henry Chamberlain from comicsgrinder.com said that the episode was informative and insightful. I really enjoyed your conversation. Also, Chris from the Comic Book DB website, and this is via Twitter though. If you like Lazarus by Greg Rucka, I just listened to a good discussion of the first 5 issues on that episode with Peter Rios. On the Best of 2013 episode, this is episode 63, Sleepy Reader. This is via YouTube, but he said Danger Club, because I mentioned Danger Club as he says is a great choice for a missed comic. So that was my nomination for a comic that was missed in the year 2013. And then he also says, good points about new female characters. I think comics have been spotty in strong female characters, and now that they're going into more female characters, there's lots of interesting ground to be covered. Yes, definitely. He also adds fabulous show guys. And Peter Rios also said, good best of episode. He enjoyed that. So I really appreciate that coming from Peter and from Sleepy Reader. Episode 67, this is my conversation with Bruce from the Heroes and Villains podcast. Sleepy Reader again said, great episode, got me through the commute today, which, that says a lot to me, that someone will, take the time and use that as their entertainment, either commuting to work or while at work, which is what I do for the podcasts that I consume. On my way to work, I listen to them. On my way home from work, I listen to them. And while I'm at work, when I can, which though recently hasn't been a whole lot of time spent doing that, but I listen to episodes, comic book podcast episodes, and other things as well. But that's my form of entertainment for the most part. I don't listen to music all that much. I definitely don't listen to commercial radio. I don't watch a whole lot of TV, and then the movies that I go see are generally related to the superhero genre, so I don't see a whole lot of movies either. So much of my entertainment, besides, of course, reading comic books, is audio podcasts about comic books. And these next few are feedback from my The Gutters short. What do I want to say? Sub podcast. I got a bunch of feedback just recently on these. Let's see. On the first episode, which was about the dreams of flying, I got an email from Jerry, who is JCSEIJI on YouTube. And what he wrote, in part of what he wrote, he says, from what I heard, I find myself wondering if you, meaning me, like butterflies. I wonder this because your dream reminds me of the flight of a butterfly. Something close to the ground, flitty, almost random, and more led by the air currents than the will to direct. A free-spirited discovery of this gift of flight. I thought that was really interesting. I also found out that Sleepy Reader did a video response on YouTube to this question of, what's your dream of flying, which prompted Howler Mouse on YouTube to do the same thing. And then, let's see here. There were 2 others. Yeah, and the 2 others are Comic Crack. It's Comic KKRAKK. And Matt on Comics. Like I said, I'll link to this stuff in the show notes. So if you're interested, you can go check them out. So there were 4 responses driven by this episode of The Gutters. So I thought that was really, really cool. And Ryan Sainio of the SainioCast also on Twitter said, I still think about the way that I fly in dreams because of your episode, which, this stuff is just the fact that people are thinking about the content that I'm putting out there and even better, responding to it in some fashion is just blows me away. And I'm just so appreciative of that and think it's just really cool. On another episode of The Gutters, the Am I Lazy or What episode, I got a voicemail from Mike, who was on episode 36, where I interviewed him. He was the person who left the first iTunes review, so I asked him to come on the show and talk with me. And so here's his voicemail.
Yes, Eric, this is Fukudomi Town from iTunes and Antique Clock Call from Twitter, and just wanted to thank you once again for all you're doing and to answer a question you asked previously about the frequency of your podcast. And although I like it as often as I can get it, I do appreciate the amount of effort that you put into it and would gladly take them whenever they appear in my mailbox. Once again, thank you for all that you do. It is most appreciated.
Well, thank you, Mike. That's really cool that you left the voicemail. You are the second person to leave me a voicemail on that number. So I really appreciate that you did that. And then finally, episode-wise, I got feedback from Ed via email saying, I just listened to your podcast, and this is referring to the Gutters, what will be my legacy. I just listened to your podcast. Yeah, I'm in my 40s as well, and I ask myself the same things. What have I got done? Yeah, exactly, Ed. I think you should get those short stories out, which thank you very much, Ed. I really appreciate that encouragement. We'll see, I guess. We will see. All right, so next up, just a few general things from Twitter, I believe. Yeah. First is from Electric Mayhem. As if I needed another comic book podcast, but count me in, Longbox Review. Hashtag subscribed, that was really cool to get. Sean Bertkey, I hope I'm saying that right. Bling Crosby on Twitter. So I posted a question, why can't I just drop a comic? Why do I feel compelled to stop at a storyline ending? And he responded that he has the same thing. I keep picking up Forever Evil and haven't read an issue yet. Here's hoping I like it. I said, after you read those issues and want to hear a couple guys talk about the first half of Forever Evil, and I referenced episode 60, that Travis and I did, where we did that talk about the first few issues. He responded, "Will do. I'm a big fan of your podcast. Must admit I've dropped off recently, but we'll definitely jump back on with this one." I thanked him for listening. He said, "My pleasure. Thank you for putting out a highly entertaining and insightful product." Well, Sean, I certainly hope that I'm living up to that perception. I tried to put out at least an entertaining product. I don't know about how insightful it really is, but I do appreciate how you think about the show. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. Let's see here. Electric Mayhem again. And so I put out a tweet about the publisher reactions to the Comixology news that Amazon bought Comixology, where I said, DC is all partnership, Dynamite is congratulatory, and Marvel is buy from us. And so Electric Mayhem responded about that, but also added, not buying from an artist does not make you a bleep hole, which is a reference to one of the Gutters episodes, Am I an A-hole, which I guess I should have included just a few seconds ago. Anyway, let's see here. Next up. Oh, so this is really cool. So anybody who has listened to the show over the long term knows that I really love Danger Club, the comic from Eric Jones and Landry Q. Walker. And like I said earlier in the show, Danger Club is one of those shows, or one of those I almost said podcast, one of those comic books, one of those comic books that I really missed in 2013. I think only 5 issues of the comic have come out. And I found out via a post, a tweet from Eric Jones, that the Danger Club has always been a finite story. They're doing 8 issues. I only mention this because I just thought it was really cool, because I responded to his post about the fact that he needs to do some more art for prints and T-shirts, etc. Perhaps post Danger Club. I'm like, what, post Danger Club? Because I thought it was an ongoing. It just was on hiatus, and I was really afraid that because of this long wait between issues, that interest in the book would just completely die off, and I wouldn't get any more issues. Well, he responded that like I said, it's a finite story. They might do spin-offs at some point, but for now, that's it. I'm only going to get 8 issues, which really unfortunate because I love that book. And he responded again with, "Don't worry, it's getting quite a send-off in the next 3 issues." Yeah, so we've had 5. There are 3 more. "Drawing it has nearly killed me, but it'll be worth it." And I said, "Of course it'll be worth it because this is great stuff." I just thought it was really cool that he responded to me about one of my favorite books. Electric Mayhem again. This is in reaction to my tweet about the new Guardians of the Galaxy trailer. This is on May 19th. They released the new trailer, and I said, "Nope, still not convinced that it'll be good." And Electric Mayhem responded, "Hey, don't be that guy. Let's give it a chance before our high expectations tear it down." And I just bring that up because, Electric Mayhem is entirely correct there. I think I was letting how good the other Marvel movies have been kind of influence me, and so I expect all of them to be as good as what I have already seen, and I'm just not getting it from the Guardians of the Galaxy trailer. So I really appreciate that he grounded me with that comment, with that critique there of my tweet. But I do, as I told him, I do plan to watch the movie because I like the idea of it. I think what is pulling me down is the focus on the humor in the trailer. So I'm hoping there's more than just a bunch of jokes in this movie, and I'm sure there will be. But I said the trailer just doesn't sell it to me, and he said that understood. I can get that. Everything is not for everyone, which obviously that's true. But like I said, I just appreciate the comment that he made to me. So with Forever Evil number 7 having come out, and so I sent a tweet out, "Speaking of Forever Evil number 7, do you wish DC had brought in other artists to get the issue out more quickly, or was the wait worth it?" And so I put that out there because I had read that one of the reasons that the comic was delayed was that they wanted to be able to let David Finch and the other art team members finish out the book instead of bringing in other people. So Matt Centauri Griffith, who is PhotoCub on Twitter, you may know him or know of his work, said, "Totally worth the wait. Multiple artists ruin a story like Forever Evil in perpetuity," which I would tend to agree with in general. And then Hassan on Twitter also said, "I rather have one artist." So I will just throw out there, not to be contrary to those gentlemen, but I don't think that the worth was weighted for that particular comic. I thought the art it looked rushed to me, but then again, that's how the entire series has looked. So I think that's David Finch's style, and I guess I just don't care for that style. So anyway. And then finally on Twitter, before I move on to some other feedback in some other areas, I just thought this was funny. So I put out a tweet. This is from Tumblr. I posted I tweeted a post from Tumblr that somebody else made. It was a picture of Big Barda and Mr. Miracle by Kevin Maguire. I liked it, so I put it out there. So I get a response from the Twitter account Motherbox, and all it says is ping, ping, ping. That's really cool. Because some Twitter bots are just lame, but that one is pretty cool. I got an email from Vanessa simply asking me for advice about selling some comics. Some Star Trek comics. She has some classic TNG and DS9 comics from the late 80s and early 90s, and some other titles as well. But she was asking if they're worth trying to sell, or should she just donate them or recycle them. So I responded with to her email. I tried to give her as much advice as I could, not knowing exactly what she has to sell, but I encouraged her, if she couldn't sell them, to please donate them to some, either a specific person or give them to a library or, a children's hospital, or something along those lines. I took her recycle comment as if she were going to put them basically in the trash. in the recycle bin, which means no one else would read them necessarily, right? So I did not want her to do that. I mean, give the comics away. If you got comics and you just don't want them anymore, don't just throw them away. Give them to somebody. There's always somebody that could benefit from having free comics. And who knows? The person who picks those up may discover a love of comics and be as enriched as I was throughout these last 35-ish years that I've been reading and collecting comics. So yeah, please don't just throw them away. I just thought it was really cool that Vanessa sought me out. I don't know. I'm not sure how she found out about me. I'm sure she just did a search or something and happened to click on, the blog, found my email address, or I don't know how, but she found out about me, and I just thought it was really cool that she asked for my advice. Speaking of the website, I got a tweet from Jason Ford of the Womb Mates podcast. This is at thewombmates.com. Let's try that again. The WOMBMATES. So the Womb Mates. So they do a podcast as well. I just visited your website and it's awesome, he says. I like how you have everything set up. And he was listening to episode 40 at that time. #good job. So I really appreciate that. Go check out the Womb Mates podcast. Let's see. In response to on the blog, I have a particular page, a specific page called my pull list, where I list all the comics that I'm currently getting. Henry Chamberlain again posted, "Are all these in print? I have basically made the switch to digital. There's still some of it, though. There's still some that's nice to get in print. I prefer print when it comes to trade or hardcover." And yeah, all the comics that I list there are print versions. I don't subscribe to any regularly published digital comics, though I have about, let's see, it's now more than this, but at the time I said 150 unread digital comics in my Comixology account. And considering that for the past 2-3 weeks, I think it is, at the time of this recording, so this is June, This is June 12th as I record this, June 12th. Comixology has been releasing their Days of Summer promotion thing, where every day they're giving you one free comic a day. I think it only lasts for a couple more days at the time of this recording, but I've been getting those as well. So I think I'm up more towards 160, maybe 175-ish Comixology comics that I haven't read yet. Let's see. Okay, so then I had this other post. Oh, wait. Yeah, I had this other post on the blog, which is a review of mycomicshop.com, which is a place that I've bought comics from a couple times. And out of all of the posts that I've been doing for several years now, that review has garnered the most responses of anything I've done, whether it be podcast, on YouTube, on Twitter. Well, maybe not Twitter. Or any posts on the website. But more recent comments have come in from GS Josh Houston's, which is Houston with a ZE at the end, and Dave from writethegoodblog.com. So they basically, all of these people recently have just put in their 2 cents worth about their experience with mycomicshop.com. And you can go read those. But Dave said, "It's always a pleasure to find little gems of information like your blog post, Eric. Found it after discovering a book I wanted at my comic shop, then searched for a review of that outlet to see if they were legit. Your efforts here are appreciated, as well as those of your commenters." Yes, definitely. "Just wanted to give you a shout out from one tiny cork bobbing on infinite waves of the internet. Thanks." Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. Thank you, Dave, for responding that way. That was very much appreciated. And yes, all of the commenters to my post, I think, have informed other people of the service. And considering the comments, I mean, you need to go read them and judge for yourself. But I will think twice about ordering from them again. Okay, we're getting down to the home stretch, people. Let's see. on a couple New Comics Wednesday posts, which was been really cool to receive some feedback there. Those are posts that I put out every Wednesday for the most part, where I talk about the comics that I am getting for that week, and I may talk about some other things as well, some other comics that are coming out that week that I wasn't getting, but there's something interesting about them. Sometimes I throw in news. Once a month I throw in my thoughts on the previews catalog, what I'm going to get out of the previews catalog for that month, and just whatever else catches my fancy. But I got some feedback here from a WordPress.com blog, Always the Big Spoon, that apparently is now defunct, because I went to check on it today before I started recording, and it's not there. There's no content there, so I'm not sure what happened there. But the person who left these comments, let's see, one of the New Comics Wednesday post for April 2nd, 2014. They commented about the fact that I decided to skip Inhuman once it had been resolicited, because I pre-ordered it and then it was resolicited, so that pre-order was canceled, and I decided not to get it again. And he said, "Shame about skipping Inhuman #1," to which I responded, let me know how you liked it. I can be persuaded to try it out, especially when it comes out in trade. Then to the following week's post for April 9th, this person said, in response to Teen Titans, how I was skipping the new version of Teen Titans that was coming out after the Teen Titans comic that launched with the New 52 relaunch. He says, "I'm guessing this is how DC will handle relaunches of dead/canceled titles." And then in parentheses, he said, "Bring back Demon Knights." To which I responded, is like, hell yeah, bring back Demon Knights. That was one of my favorites of the New 52 launch. So yeah, they bring back Teen Titans with basically the same cast and the same folks that ended the series. So I'm wondering how can this be better if it was canceled at that point? But and I'm not getting Demon Knights, which I think is a much better premise and has a much better promise than the current run of Teen Titans. I mean, it remains to be seen, because I'm not going to get that new Teen Titans volume, but I would love to get another volume of Demon Knights. So somebody needs to work on that. Somebody really cool. Like I don't know. I'm really bad at pulling names, creator names, to put on a book that I would like to see. So forget that. I just like to have that comic back. I just really enjoyed it. Let's see here. In response to a Random Monday post, which is a post I put out just about virtually every Monday, where I randomly pull a comic issue from my collection, and I post a picture of the cover, and then I just kind of generally talk about it, about what the issue was about, and then my thoughts about reading the issue or rereading the issue, or actually both. Because sometimes I talk about the issue as I recall when I first read it, and then how I feel about it, having now just reread it to do the post. And that's a really long introduction to a somewhat short response. But Mr. Peter Rios responded about the Legion of Superheroes. This is the 5 year later run from 1989 when it started, number 38. And this is the issue where Keith Giffen basically blew up the earth. And so Peter responded, "Yes, that double-page spread definitely made my jaw drop when I read it, even though the potential for it to happen was set up from page 1. I think the way it was handled from the viewpoint of the entire world made the story resonate. Plus, I'm fairly certain Giffen said that no one was paying attention in editorial, so he blew up the earth because of all of their interference. LOL, great issue." Yeah, it was definitely a great issue. And Peter is absolutely right. I read an interview with Mr. Giffen and Paul Levitz recently in a back issue magazine interview, where he said basically that, he was getting tired of all of the interference from editorial and just decided to just blow things up. So I thought that was pretty funny. Okay, finally, the final piece of feedback, and maybe I shouldn't have ended on this because it's kind of a this is the worst kind of feedback. It's the worst kind of reaction to anything in comic fandom as far as I'm concerned. But this is the most recent feedback I got, which prompted me to think about this whole thing. So I should give it credit for that, I guess, maybe. So in a response to a snapshot post, which is just me putting up an image and commenting on the image. And in this case, it was the cover image to Superman for All Seasons, the trade version of that, which links to a post on Tumblr I did, which shows all the covers for that limited series. Okay, so here is Anonymous, which I'm not sure why I have anonymous postings or anonymous comments allowed on WordPress because of this very reason. But this is what this person anonymously said. Superman sucks, in all caps. He's the most useless and stupid bleep supervillain created. This needless loser like him is going to ended up as a villain. This is in parentheses. Superman is scum, dirty moron, and gangster a-hole. His brainless fans, actors, etc. are weak-minded, sore losers with low IQ. All of his comics, cartoons, movies, dramas, etc. are all bleep, crap, garbage, rubbish, and suck ass. He must be removed from this face of this planet. Superman and DC Comics and their fans forever sucks. Sucks. And then he goes on. He says sucks, comma, sucks. He does this 2,000 times. Like I said, this is the worst kind of feedback. This is nothing. This contributes nothing to the conversation. This is spineless troll bait. So, ignore that. I certainly did. I just find it funny that this person would take the time to write this crap and then write sucks 2,000 times. Really? How useful was that, buddy? Anyway, that's it. That's all the feedback I've collected for several months now. I probably will not do that again. That took a while to collect, and besides, some of it wasn't as timely. But again, I want to reiterate, I do appreciate the feedback that I've gotten over these last several months, via email, Twitter, YouTube, comments on the blog. It's been great. I want to thank each and every one of you. And I may have missed some, and if I did, and you hear this, and you're thinking, well, why didn't you read mine? I apologize. There's just so many things that I was searching, and I was trying to get everyone. If I missed it, please let me know. I'll point it out to me, and I will go and find it, and I'll read it on a future episode. I want to be able to give thanks and let people know who you are as well. So remember, you can follow these people, whether it's on YouTube or Twitter or wherever. There'll be links in the show notes that I'll be adding. So go follow them, go engage with them, and if you would like to leave feedback about this episode or anything else that I produce, whether, like I said, on YouTube, on Tumblr, on the blog, wherever, you can email me at longboxreview@gmail.com. There is also the handy dandy feedback button on the blog longboxreview.com. It says contact/feedback, but it's longboxreview.com/feedback, and there is the link to the email. There's voicemail. That's 208-953-1841. You can also, there's a link to send me a short voice message via SpeakPipe. There's Twitter at longboxreview. Facebook.com/longboxreview. You can also go there. Tumblr is longboxreview.tumblr.com. My YouTube channel is youtube.com/user/longboxreview. I'm on Google Plus at +longboxreview. Please leave a rating and review at iTunes. I haven't gotten a review in iTunes in a very long time. So I'd appreciate it if you could do that. That'd be great, so more people can find the show as well. And I want to say again, thank you everyone for providing the feedback that you have, and I look forward to more feedback in the future. Thanks again, and thanks for listening.